It's December 16th, 2021. We're having our WMNR commission meeting. Like to call to order at looks like 7:05 p.m. Rose, you're taking notes tonight, right? I guess you're not gonna say.
Yes, she can't hear. We can't hear her, but she can hear us fine.
Great.
And if she has to, she'll use the chat function and raise her hand or something. But yes, Rose is taking minutes.
Terrific, thank you. So we have approval of the minutes for the special meeting on September 28th. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked at them. I got them.
Any questions, changes, corrections?
I didn't. Nothing jumped out as far as I could see. I don't know if anyone else.
No. They look fine to me. Rose has done a beautiful job even of formatting. It's great.
Yep.
Okay.
So we need a motion and a second to approve it.
Somebody make a motion to accept.
Well, I shouldn't because I wasn't there, but I could second.
All right. I would make a motion. Fred Velarde, commission member. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Patricia Panici, a member. I second to accept as presented.
So all in favor, I guess.
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Okay, the minutes are accepted as presented. Moving on to general manager's report. We had a fundraising drive on November 30th. Do you want to tell us about that, Kurt?
Yes, I would ask Rose. She can't talk to us, but Rose they did a great job to help set it up, as well as everybody else, Cindy. And so we weren't sure. We'd never fundraised on a Giving Tuesday and after Thanksgiving before, but this was a Giving Tuesday, the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. But it went well. We had a $10,000 goal, which was a little on the low side. Other one-day drives in December had done maybe 12 or 16,000. We were trying to do it all in 12 hours. We actually got 17,000 and we did it in 10 hours. It was a couple of major donors, three major donors at $1,000 or more that really helped kick us over the top. But it went very well.
Wow, that's great. Anything noticeably done different in order to achieve such nice goals?
Well, no, go ahead, Fred.
I'm sorry. No, the only thing I noticed, which was good, was usually when we do this, we start at 7 instead of 8 o'clock. And we started receiving phone calls like 7:15, which I was surprised. I thought that was very nice. People were up and at it, joining in right from the beginning. And that was very good. That was the first time in my experience that I've actually saw people calling in that early, 7:15, 7:20, the phone started ringing. So that was nice. And it was, well, everybody's talking about the station. Everything was, if we all rehearsed it, they rehearsed it. It sounded very good. And I think it was, and that's why I think it was successful. So it was good.
Excellent. Anything else from your end, Kurt, on that?
Nope. The one thing I'll say, we've been doing these one-day drives generally in December for about 3-4 years now, and whatever normal was has certainly changed with COVID and after COVID. But people still do appreciate us and emotionally, and they support us financially. So that's great.
That's wonderful, especially when you get to exceed expectations. It's a testament to what you guys do. It's great. All right, then we'll move on to the financial report. And,
yes, so I sent the PDF out last night. No, this only has numbers for the first 4 months or a third of our fiscal year. We don't have November with bank reconciliation yet, so that's why these are only numbers through the end of October. But still, you haven't seen any numbers since July 1, so I wanted to make sure you saw something. The one thing I just wanted to mention on the membership, it does show how much we got at the end of October last year and then this year. You could see membership is up a little. The member challenge is pretty close to the same, down 1,000. Assured PSA is much more income. You'll notice down at the charitable gifts column, last year we got 69,540. This year we already have 50,000. So that ends up putting the income numbers very close for this year to last year. If you notice on the expense side, I'll just go to the bottom line of total expenses. Last year for the first 4 months, it was 199,000. This year it's 195,000, so it's pretty close. The one thing I wanted to point out was the bottom line. The budget for this current year had us running a deficit of $44,000, which was going to come out of our the extra cash that we have left over, thanks to the Rescue Act and the CARES Act. And that deficit of $44,000 was there because the $50,000 charitable gifts, I didn't have that in. I didn't know of anything coming in the pipeline. Sometimes I do. And in this case, I didn't know, so I left it zero. And we ended up getting 50,000 in. So let's just say we're in very good shape. And that's basically what I wanted to point out for the finances. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
A combination of good management and good luck. it's
Yeah.
Beautiful in there.
Yeah. The fellow who gave $50,000 had never given a dime before. His wife had passed, and he gave $50,000 to 13 organizations. And we've had lunch with him. We're engaging him. We don't know if he'll be doing this again next year from his family foundation or not, but we're certainly thanking him and making sure he gets good reception of us up in Farmington.
Was WMNR something that he was passionate about, or something that his wife was? Do you know?
His wife and he were passionate for the arts in the Hartford area. Other organizations that got 50,000 included the Bushnell, the people that own the building. Also, I think maybe not the Hartford Symphony, Goodspeed. So he hadn't heard of us, but his financial advisor, who lives down in Fairfield County, had heard of us, listened, and said, you might want to consider giving to the smaller organization. Because Connecticut Public Radio over TV, which he gets up there, and he might have given 50,000 to them. They might have been part of the 13. They're a $15 million organization, and he likes to have his contribution make a little bit of a difference. And certainly for somebody as small as WMNR with a $650,000 budget, it does. So he was a true bluebird, brand new to us, but he does enjoy the music. He gave it in his wife's memory, and it's just interesting why and how people give. Some major donors, they never want to hear from us, and others, they want to have lunch, once or twice a year and chat a bit, and so very few actually want to have us spend time with them, but of course we do for those that do, and certainly when somebody decides to renew at 5,000, it's worth spending a phone call or two or a lunch with them.
Yeah.
And
yes,
very few want that. Very few want that. But
part of it's business and part of it's the spirit of it all. And just interesting to find out a little bit more about that individual and his wife and to see what they care about, because obviously they're the type of people we're trying to service. So that's great.
Yeah. So just to acknowledge that if anyone has any more questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Just so that it's in the minutes as having been, reviewed, if people would like to, someone could make a motion on it and second and vote, then it'll be official that you guys looked at it.
I'll make a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous decision. Budget is accepted as presented, and we'll continue forward. Going on to section C, the FCC license renewals.
There were 6 forms due by December 1st. They were for a license renewal. One of them was submitted every 2 years on December 1st anyway. And so they were all submitted by the town's FCC attorney, I don't know, about 5 days before the deadline. It used to be for some of the major FCC applications that the first selectman would ask specific permission from the town council. But what he asked the town council for this time and received was blanket permission for any FCC filings, business registrations. He said he'll keep the town informed of anything, but that's useful just to help make sure things get in on time. This was only for the Connecticut stations and translators, which are 10 of the 15. The 5 in New York State, let's see, they will have to be filed by February 1st. And after January 1st, the FCC attorney will work on the forms, and I'll proofread them, and then Ken Kellogg will be able to approve they're being submitted. Yep, so that's license renewals.
Smooth sailing or any issues that you anticipate?
Smooth sailing so far. It took a little while to wrestle one of the 6 forms that had to be submitted, including updated questionnaires for all the 9 town council members who are on the council as of October 1. And 2 or 3 of them, took over a month to fill it out. But we finally got them. And it'll be smooth sailing. And the FCC has reduced the number of on-air announcements and things you have to do to let people know. Technically, there's a 30-day period beginning December 6th where people could file comments or petitions. I don't think anyone's going to file anything on us. If they do, the licenses will still get renewed. We work hard to run a clean ship.
It shows. Thank you. Any comments on it? Questions, anybody? No? Okay, then moving on to section D, the 88.1 FM transmitter. I guess we have a new one.
Yes, well, I'll let Mark speak to that, and I'm sure Mark will keep it brief, right, Mark?
Yes. I installed a new Nautel transmitter. It's on the air. We're good. Next.
Well, so the thing about
You
the
want
old,
a brief? There we go.
yeah, the old transmitter was tube. When there was a power flicker in the middle of the night, it would shut off and my phone call would go, phone would ring, and I have to kick it back on in the middle of the night. And on a windy night this summer, I had to do that 3 times. But this is solid state. If it goes off, it'll turn itself back on. It's got redundant internal parts, so it won't go off. It might go half power. So yeah, it's a great improvement. We're grateful for the 1, 2, 3, 4 major donors that help fund it.
Yeah, the new Nautel transmitter. It's sort of strange being able to carry a 2.5 kilowatt transmitter in my arms and be able to throw it, put it in the back seat of my car, whereas the current transmitter is about the size of a commercial refrigerator. So it's
Wow.
or a large kitchen refrigerator. So it's like so wild at how technology has progressed. So it's, and the thing is set up to the send out emails when it's unhappy, or call the email the manufacturer when it's not feeling well. Whereas the old transmitter, you had to do a site visit to investigate problems. But this one here, I could easily check things out remotely without having to go on site. So I can bring parts or order parts in advance.
Great description. Thank you, Mark. That's really neat. One day maybe we'll do a field trip and go out and see what the new toys.
See what works there.
So moving on to the Mount Kisco translator.
Yes, so the Mount Kisco translator, which has been off the air for a year and a half, except for 5 days last summer. I did talk 2 weeks ago to Daniel Rosemark, who the town utilized for the Jockey Hollow cell tower, potential cell tower. And he's been going over the lease with the huge company that has 40,000 sites in a lease that favors it left, right, and yesterday, to try to make some of the terms less onerous. He's hoping to get that wrapped up soon. I'm going to push and remind him, and I did it already and I'll do it again, that some of the things about getting 30 days instead of 45, I need to get the contract signed so we can start installation. It has to be back on the air by May 18th or we lose the license. So hopefully I'd love to be able to get the lease signed off in a month. But he wants to make changes. Their legal department is going to be out between Christmas and New Year's, and they always take 2-3 weeks to approve to renegotiate a change or not. So I'm trying to push it along. They are aware of the deadline, and I'm sure we'll get it up and operating in time.
Sounds promising. Questions, anybody?
One comment I'll make is it's interesting how much income we've gotten from people in the Mount Kisco area, even though it's off the air. They've renewed because they're listening over the internet. That was surprising.
I wonder how much those portable devices, Amazon Alexa and things like that, have benefited you too. I find it very clean and easy to get WMNR through that device.
Yeah, I mean, most of our listeners are older. The median age is 65. So not all of them have smart speakers, or they have a internet radio in one location. They don't have it in multiple rooms. But at the moment, so at the moment we're doing okay there, particularly with the major donor who gives $10,000 a year. He gave it again, even though it was off the air. So that's great.
I've given my in-laws a number of different technologies through the years, that many of which have not been adopted because they just didn't want to adopt it. But that little speaker they love, and they carry it around, take it out to the garage or down the basement or outside, and listen to the music that they want from whatever station they want around the country. It's turned out to be one of the few successes. So I was hoping maybe more did as well. Well, great. So moving on to 94.5 translator.
Yes, I just wanted the commission to know that WMNR has 4 stations. They have call letters. Monroe, Guilford, South Kent, and Shelton are the locations. And we have 11 translators. The translators, you could put a translator where you can't put a station. You can have a translator be at higher power than a station could be. They have little different rules. Most of our translators are fairly stable, but I'd say 10 of the 15 translators are stable. But right now, 4 of them, well, I'm only talking about 3 right now, the 94.5s, they're going to have to shift frequencies because a new commercial station is going to go on the air in near Sag Harbor on that frequency. A station that was sold at auction for $50,000 this summer. And just, we could have tried to join the auction and bid them for it, but I just didn't feel like doing that. So they'll all be able to find new frequencies at the same power. That'll happen in the next year or two, probably in the next year. But anyway, just wanted to mention it.
The FCC handles that?
Well, yes, I've already had somebody take a look and find that 2 of them have great frequencies and the third will require a third adjacent waiver. But we have, like any changes in any of our technical changes in our FCC licensed facilities, we pay somebody who puts together an application to modify whatever, and there are rules to follow, and there's certain waivers you can ask for that are easily granted and others rarely. And that gets reviewed by the FCC attorney we use, and then the FCC gets submitted and they act on it in a couple of months.
Okay. Questions? All right, then we'll just keep moving on. We're going through it at a
Moving on.
great pace. What's that, Fred?
I said we're moving along well.
Yeah. My next line is cut off here.
Yes.
Mine
and I
too,
could-
but
Yeah.
does it say staffing changes?
Yes, WMNR staffing changes. When I created the PDF, it was a Word document that I created a PDF to, and this was outside the print one. I
God bless.
Thank you.
just wanted to update you that I haven't begun working, but I will shortly on revising my, actually, I haven't had a town council approved job description since I've been working for the town in 2009. Obviously, I was first appointed general manager at $1 a year in November of 1982 by the Monroe Board of Education, John's recommendation. And then eventually I got paid part-time and then eventually full-time. So I need to put a job description in and specify half-time, and then redo the job description for Cindy Carlson, our major gifts person who also handles communications, have that be full-time. The town council will approve those 2, and then we'll be able to shift myself from full-time to half-time, and from her from half-time to full-time. Our annual grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, it's actually up a couple of thousand this year. It'll be 80,000 from last year. Last year was 77. Oh, yes, and by the way, town council Monday night approved filing for the CPB grant. I signed off on it yesterday, and Ken signed off on it today to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. That grant requires that there be 2 full-time paid people and 2 part-time equivalents. We actually right now have 2 full-time people, Rose and myself. We actually have 4.3 part-time equivalents. Mark, who's a consultant and not a part-time employee of the town of Monroe, doesn't count in that equation. So CPB requires the 2 full-time, which is why, since I'd like to go to half-time, I am 67, and I just hit my 39th year doing this. Now, if I go half-time, I can hang in for quite a number of years, which I think will be helpful at this time. Try to figure out a replacement and help with the long-term plan future of the station. And that's why we're doing the switch for me to from full-time to half-time. The first selectman, I brought it up to conceptually first, and he agreed to it. Conceptually, we have to work on the job descriptions to approve that. So I just wanted to bring that up, make sure everybody, I mentioned it, I believe, at the last meeting, but I hadn't done anything yet, but it's still in the plans. Hopefully that can happen in January or February. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be around.
That's great to hear. Is there any progress in finding, bringing in somebody to overlap your time at all, or to start finding your somebody to succeed your position?
Well, not yet. I'm just trying to have those people that are already with us. At the moment, I don't see bringing in somebody quite yet. I'd like to just utilize the great people we have at the station, like Rose, like Cindy, and keep my eyes open.
Okay. Because you are such an important member of the team, important leader, we will be looking at this discussion about clarity, full-time, part-time, finding succession, working with your succession plan, to just make sure that there's stability at the top and that all the volunteers who dedicate their time will be feeling comfortable and confident that that leadership is there and that there's a continuation plan and whatnot. So I think I speak on behalf of everybody that, you know, please take that seriously so that we always feel like it's not on a shelf someplace.
No, I understand. I'm
Thank you.
Trying to keep my eyes open and, you know, look for possibilities.
You're wonderful. And I think that finding somebody to fill your shoes will not be an easy task. And even if we could find somebody with the right capabilities or a different set of capabilities, there's just so many details in this organization that are not right off the shelf. You know, somebody out of college coming in and ready to take that position. It's very custom, and there's a lot of transfer of knowledge that would have to happen. So, to me,
Well, yeah,
the maximum amount of time would be beneficial.
you know, you notice John and Carol are with us, and Jane will be shortly. It's not like our old management just walks up and leaves and never talks to us again. So
And
I
we love that, but
expect to
there's
follow.
there's
Yep.
the get hit by a bus logic also. You know,
Oh yeah, I know.
something terrible
I
will
know.
happen. You know, it's not a matter of worry about where your heart is and how hard you'll try.
Right. So yes, I do think about that, and I'll start working on it. And certainly having a job description, the first ever, and since I think '93, a detailed job description will be a good step in that direction.
That's great. Yeah. Fred, Patty, any comments, questions on that subject?
But I'm not sure there's enough paper for your job description. If you put paper, it may be pages long, so good luck with that. But I think,
Well, I'm actually cribbing off right now the recently approved library director job description as a start.
oh, okay. That might do it.
Well, you know, a little bit, but you know, the library director just has to supervise and make sure that the building is properly maintained. I have to keep my eye on this building and a few other sites that,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
you know,
On that note, what about my job description?
well, fortunately, you're just a consultant, Mark. So we don't have to deal with the technicalities of it all.
We joke when when we talk about succession plans or cross training or whatever. You get hit by a bus tomorrow, and Ken comes to me and says, "Okay, now Brian, what do we do?"
Well, do you remember Ron Willison?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first selectman told me the story. He's, you know, lying on the sidewalk. I didn't hear the medical details, and he didn't want to give up his huge ring of keys. You know, that kind of a thing.
I worked with him with the Friday night ski program. He was a good guy.
Yeah, no, it's a great guy. But I don't, you know, Mark's got more keys than I do. I don't have any keys that nobody else has. So, but I understand you mean more than that. And so, yes, I'll start putting things to paper, both in a job description and background information. Key things like, okay, when's the lease at 731 Main Street going to renew? What are the other leases? What are the big pictures that, someone needs, that would help if we're put down on a Google Calendar. So I'll be doing that.
Yeah, the list is long.
Yeah.
Volume 37. Now,
That's right.
yeah, and we're not looking to put more work on your plate. In fact, it's just the opposite. If you want to cut back your hours somewhat, literally or figuratively, if you want to start working into a transition of power, passing the torch somewhere down the line, it has to start someplace, right? And
Yeah.
we have to be aware of how that's going to work for all the rest of the people that are involved. And I keep saying the hit by a bus. I want to make sure that everything lives on if any one of us disappears, and you're the most important in that regard. So I love how the Babinas would jump in and help and give us guidance, and I love how Jane would run in and help. If somebody said to me, "Okay, Brian, figure it out," I'd have a long way to go. So thank you for keeping that in mind, because it makes everybody else feel more comfortable. And I'm not even talking about the rest of the town or
Yeah, I know.
people beyond.
Sure.
So thank you. All right. If there's no other comments on that, then we'll move on to new business. Back to the electric generator donation.
Yes, I'm simply waiting on a written quote from estimate, from Monroe Electric. I left a phone message last week. Maybe Mark, you and I can alternate calling them once a week and asking them to give us a written estimate, just an estimate. So I have something to go on to present to the town officials to issue a purchase order because it will be in excess of $10,000. They're going to want more than one estimate. And then you could start pulling the electrical permits. It's obviously winter time. I know the ground's not frozen right now, but it will be shortly. It will snow eventually. But you could start on the project. Right now, the current generator is working just fine at Stepney, the Stepney transmitter.
I'll
So-
knock on my oak bench. I have been sending Monroe Bob a text message periodically asking the estimate, so I guess I can step that up to giving him an actual phone call to.
And actually, I'm going to reach out to the town who's used to dealing with them and seeing if they can't get through to him, Public Works or something, a building and Public Works, and so, because they'd like to see the project finished off too.
There's also Ken Burns, who he did all the electric work when we moved into our new facility.
Okay, great. I'll give him a call.
Hey, Jane. Great. And I had mentioned at one point Sippins are in that business now too, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
I have talked to him, but since at the moment they weren't interested. I mean, they don't own the electrician. They have one that they use. They don't have an employee who's electrician. They have somebody that they use.
I see.
But the contract's already in, the gas is already installed. This isn't like, well, install the generator and we'll buy gas from you. So the cart's already before the horse on that one.
Okay. The small firm that used to be in their complex that did some of the excavating and tank removal work and whatnot. That was one of the last things that Bernie did was to buy that business. So they have the backhoe and the dump truck and all that sort of stuff as part of their equipment now. So he poured a new pad for me at my house when he did that. So there's more skills there than just
Okay.
Just
Sure, I'll talk to him too. You know, he's local. The town would like that.
Okay.
So,
I guess we need to start thinking about 2022 meeting dates as well.
if we're able to get meeting dates, if you, Brian, are able to send in meeting dates to the town clerk before December 30th, then those meeting dates that are given will be regular meetings, not special meetings. So yes, should we take a look at the calendar and consider the schedule that we've used this last year?
Yes, please.
Um,
March would be the next one in March. Would that be the 22?
Right, so last year we did March, May, September, and December. The first Tuesday in March, May, September, and December. So for 22, the first Tuesday in March is March 1st.
Is the first, yeah.
Is everybody okay with meeting on the Ides of March?
So far,
Okay. Then the first Tuesday in May, when we would approve the budget, would be May 3rd. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
it is here. Yep.
The first Tuesday in September is right after Labor Day, September 6th. How does that work?
Okay, it's okay with me.
I mean, Tuesdays are fine with me because that's when my program is, so I'm here. So that works well. I appreciate that it's a Tuesday. It
Okay.
makes it easy for me.
Then the last one, December, would be December 6th.
September.
Makes sense.
Is that okay?
It's okay.
Great.
Kurt, I'm gonna double check. The one thing we run into now with our new in-laws is Jewish holiday. So let me double check to see if it didn't fall on Passover or Yom Kippur and those things, okay? What was the first one? April or March?
March.
Okay, first Tuesday in March. First Tuesday in March.
March
Okay.
1.
March 1, there's nothing on that. Okay, Ash Wednesday is Wednesday. Okay, the next one, September.
No,
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
April, okay, May 3rd is clean. Okay, and what's the next one?
6th September.
September is clean. And December,
Same thing, December 6th.
December 6th is clean. Okay.
good.
Great. Then let's plan on those dates. And you need me to submit them, or you're going to submit them?
I'll email them up to you to send back to
Yeah.
Vita.
Okay.
Don't you have to contact Kat to reserve a room for each of
Oh.
those?
Yes, so actually, they have an email called meetings at Monroe.ct.org, and that goes to both Kat and Vita. So
Oh, okay.
Vita will know for posting it, and Kat will know to reserve a meeting.
And
I mean,
will these be the virtual or in person?
Now let's figure it out when we get there.
Sure.
Any feelings on that, guys, team? I wasn't fond of the long read in the beginning and whatnot, but it seems we've simplified now. Do you have a preference for in person versus remote?
Well, I don't know. After just watching the news at 6:30 tonight,
Yeah.
this is spreading to, it's a double and tripling every day. As I mentioned, I have 2 unvaccinated toddlers and an infant in my house. And even though I'm fully vaccinated or whatever, boosted, all of that, I'm still uncomfortable in person. I mean, if you don't have to read that awful thing that takes 10 minutes, if it doesn't clear up by March 1st, maybe it will. You know,
And I'm thinking a little bit even beyond that. I mean, I agree with the surge that this makes total sense, and I'm very comfortable with that. But long-term format, do we like this better in some ways than what we usually do? Or
Yeah, since I work in New Haven, I find it makes it a lot more convenient for me be able to jump on a Zoom call because I could easily sort of multitask. Since I work more so in the evenings and have more support responsibility in the evenings. I don't know what I think this makes it for what my opinion is worth, it makes it a lot more convenient for all of us to be able to find a corner somewhere and jump on a Zoom call. And
okay,
Fred, how do you feel about it?
Well, when I was talking to someone, when I retired, the 2 things I didn't miss about retiring was meetings and commuting. This is convenient for me, of course. I'm not wearing shoes right now, because it's.
I have my slippers on.
Yeah, no, I have my slippers on. But believe it or not, I like seeing you guys in person because we get to talk. We don't really. I feel uncomfortable asking Carol how she is over the computer. I'd rather ask her how she is in person. So I hate to say it, I would prefer in-person meetings because believe it or not, I really like being with you guys. That's part of it. But as Mark says, this is so much easier. I mean, you don't have to, I'm having dinner. I'm thinking, oh, I got to get in the shower, get in the car. I don't have to do that. So either way works for me. I'm the kind of person I like to talk, as Kurt will tell you, and and so I like to see people and kind of converse for a while. I'm not real comfortable doing it in this setting as I would be in person, and I think other things come out when we're in person. But either way works for me. I could survive like this, or I would be happy if we went back. Although again, as Patty says, it is kind of scary. I mean, I wouldn't, I was saying Patty, my 7-month-old granddaughter had to be isolated for 10 days because of COVID. There was an outbreak at her daycare center, and she's fine. She was tested. My daughter and her husband were tested. Everybody's fine. But I had this vision of my little granddaughter behind bars.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned for me. I'm concerned for them. That's
exactly. So
I think under pandemic situations, I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I think we're really lucky to have been able to shift to a remote model as quickly and as easily as we did. I mean, there's a few times in history where it would have worked out so well.
Yes.
So I think as Kurt says, look, we play it by ear. See what happens when we get by March. See what the
as we get closer, I think.
Yeah.
But I like the in-person aspect too. But I'm conscious of Kurt being in a different town, Mark being in a different town,
Exactly.
Carol coming out at night, in the dark, with things to fumble over, and I'm all ears when it comes to the subject. So let's be smart. And then who knows, a year from now, even hybrid models may end up working well, where we can have some in person and some up on a big screen in the office or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that just gives me a feel for it, and I appreciate your honesty, and we'll adjust as we need to.
I will
Yeah.
mention that it's our 40th anniversary in 2022. 40th anniversary is being a classical public radio station. Of course, John and Carol first filed for the station in 1971, and it went on the air in 1973 as Monroe High School station. So we do plan on having some 40th anniversary celebrations, but we're going to plan on the safe side. They'll be outside under tents in the summer. And of course, the WMNR Commission will be invited to join some of those. So there might be a chance to, in an outdoor setting, to be able to spend a little time with each other in a non-official capacity.
Yeah, I'm with Fred. Yeah, I sort of missed the in-person aspect. Seeing each other's faces on a computer screen we don't get the warm and fuzzy feelings of sneezing on each other or bumping elbows with each other.
One thing I would like to remark on too, that it's a point people miss with us because we're a radio station, but we're more like first responders in that we operate 24/7, 365 days a year, regardless of holidays or emergencies. We're always there. And that makes it unique as a volunteer project, just like the firemen and the ambulance guys who are volunteers are unique too. And they have to staff those positions around the clock. But for us, because we're just doing radio, people don't think that we have to have that same kind of attention. Or just a comment.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to say because we're radio, we should all shut our screens off. I didn't know if you were going to say.
We'll put up cardboard cutouts.
That's true. My listeners think I'm 6'4". I don't want to give it away that I'm not in person. You sound a lot taller on the radio.
Right. We've watched Facebook say they're going into this meta verse, which means virtual reality. And I said, well, this is my chance to come in skinny, good looking and young, So, all right. Sorry to drift off topic. I guess I need to rein things back in here. The next section is public participation. John, this is usually a good chance for you to share some information.
I'm trying to think of something. Jump or see if anybody else got something going on. I always want to check the rest of the stuff stored back there in the break. Yeah, there's one other thing that's just an interesting tidbit, is that when we were starting the station, we would get used transmitters, of course. We didn't buy a new transmitter until we got the Gates in the mid 80s. But Kurt, are there any American-made transmitters anymore? Or is it just specials?
The only American-made transmitters are handmade, and they're not constructed very well.
We
bought a Canadian transmitter, by the way.
Our newest transmitters come from Canada, which is interesting.
At least our transmitters are made in let's put it this way, John. Our transmitters are made in North America.
Yes, in the Maritimes. So they're on our side of the country too.
All our translators are made by Crown, which is based in the US.
Translators, they're small transmitters compared to the big ones.
Yeah.
So right now, I guess the premier transmitter for even the commercial stations are the Nautels from Canada, right?
There isn't a large American-made, I think Harris is still making them, but, they're out of our price league. We don't need it. The world's changed a lot, but we're still here.
That's all I got to say.
Great. How about you, Carol? Anything?
Nope. Everything's going, looks like it's in good shape. So that's good to hear.
You don't need to crack the whip and get anybody in shape? That's great. Thank you guys for always partaking in these meetings. It's great to see your faces each time. All right, I think that's just about a wrap. No other comments, no other questions, anything before we close up?
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah,
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Have a good
Yes,
holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Kurt's looking up like we're in the Brady Bunch here.
No, I was checking the lights. Now that the Zoom is off, I'm playing with my lights here, so it looks better.
The Zoom is still on.
We're
Yeah.
still
So as soon
recording.
as you adjourn, we could stop recording. Brian.
Okay.
All right.
I make a
So
motion to adjourn.
at
I
7:55.
second.
Good night.